Hi, Virgo. Welcome to Virgo. Take a moment to settle in, ground your energy, and allow this message to come through naturally. This is a general reading for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Take what resonates and gently leave the rest. Virgo, there is a very specific energy surrounding you right now, and it's not subtle. Your name has been brought up in conversations you were never meant to hear. Not once, not casually, not in passing, repeatedly. What's coming through first is surprise not yours, but theirs. Because the way your name enters these conversations isn't planned. It slips out, it interrupts, it surfaces when people least expect it. And the reason this is happening is because you represent a turning point in someone's life. There are people talking about you when they are confused, when they are unhappy, when something isn't sitting right anymore. Your name comes up when reality no longer matches the choices they made. This isn't gossip energy in the usual sense. This is reflective energy, regret energy, comparison energy. Someone says your name and the room changes. There is a pause, a silence, a shift, because once your name is mentioned, truth enters the conversation. Virgo, you were not loud in their life. You weren't chaotic. You weren't dramatic. You didn't force your presence. And that's exactly why your absence feels so heavy now. People are realizing that you were the one holding things together in ways they never acknowledged. You were the grounding force, the voice of reason, the steady one. And now that you are no longer offering that energy freely, people are feeling the imbalance. There are conversations happening about what went wrong, and somehow they keep circling back to you. Someone says, Virgo would have handled this differently. Someone else says, Virgo tried to warn me. Someone else goes quiet because they know the truth but don't want to say it out loud. And what's important here is that you didn't defend yourself. You didn't explain yourself endlessly. You didn't chase closure. You didn't demand to be understood. You simply stepped back, and now people are forced to sit with their own thoughts. Virgo, there is also an energy of people realizing they underestimated you. They thought you would stay. They thought you would keep giving. They thought you would always be available. And when you removed your energy, it exposed a lot of things, including who was taking you for granted. Some of these conversations involve people comparing you to someone else in their life now, and that comparison does not work in their favor. They're noticing differences they didn't value before: your consistency, your loyalty, your depth, your ability to see through illusion without humiliating anyone. And this is where the shock comes in. Because you may feel like you're just living your life, focusing on yourself, staying in your lane. But behind the scenes, your growth is triggering realizations in people who are not growing at the same pace. Your name comes up when they talk about missed chances. Your name comes up when they talk about the one that got away. Your name comes up when they feel exposed by their own decisions. There is someone who speaks about you with admiration, but also with guilt. They know they didn't show up the way they should have. They know they didn't listen. They know they didn't protect what mattered. And now they're trying to understand if it's too late. There are also people who defend you fiercely when others speak carelessly. That tells me something important. Your integrity left an imprint. Even those who are no longer close to you know your character. They know what you stand for. Virgo, you are also being talked about by people you didn't even realize were watching you. People who observed you quietly. People who noticed how you handled pressure. How you walked away without destroying everything. How you chose peace without becoming cold. Your energy left a mark because it was real. And now there is curiosity. People are asking about you, how you're doing, if you've changed, if you're happy, if you're still the same person, or if you've evolved beyond where they can reach you. And here's the truth. You have evolved. That's why these conversations feel charged. You are no longer accessible in the same way. You're more selective, more self-contained, more aligned, and people feel that even from a distance. Virgo, There is a karmic element here. This is not random. These conversations are part of a larger realization cycle. People are being forced to reflect on how they treated you, what they ignored, and what they lost access to. And you don't need to say a word. Your silence is speaking louder than explanations ever could. Let them talk. Let them remember. Let them compare. Let them realize. Because you are no longer trying to be understood. You are moving forward. And that is exactly why your name keeps coming up. Virgo, what's powerful here is that these conversations are not happening because you are seeking attention. They are happening because your absence created space for truth. There are moments where someone is in the middle of a discussion, maybe complaining about their life, maybe talking about stress, confusion, instability, and suddenly your name surfaces. Not because anyone planned to mention you, but because your energy represents something they no longer have. Clarity. You were clarity. You were structure when things were falling apart. You were consistency when emotions were unstable. You were patience when others were impulsive. And now that you are gone from certain spaces, people are noticing the cracks. Someone says your name with nostalgia. Someone else says it with regret. Someone else defends you without you even being present. Virgo, there is a very strong realization happening right now where people are connecting dots they ignored before. They are realizing that when you left, things didn't just change, they unraveled. And what's shocking is that you may not even know half of what's being said about you. There are conversations where people admit they mishandled you, that they didn't protect the connection, that they were distracted, immature, overwhelmed, or simply not ready for someone like you. And the hardest part for them is this: you didn't beg, you didn't fight dirty, you didn't expose anyone, you walked away with dignity. That's why your name carries weight. Virgo, there is someone in particular who brings you up often. This person talks about you when they're alone with trusted people. They ask questions about you indirectly. They pretend it's casual, but it's not. They want to know if you've moved on. They want to know if you're happier without them. They want to know if they still matter. And the truth is, they are afraid of the answer. Because deep down, they know that if you are thriving, it confirms something they don't want to face. They lost someone rare. There are also people who once sided against you who are now silent. They've realized they were wrong. They've realized the story they believed didn't match reality. And now, instead of speaking, they watch. Virgo, your energy right now is very magnetic, but very contained. You're not broadcasting your moves. You're not explaining your growth. You're letting results speak. And that makes people uncomfortable because people are talking about how calm you are, how grounded, how unbothered, and they don't understand how you got there after everything you went through. What they don't realize is that you did the inner work quietly. You processed pain privately. You healed without applause. You rebuilt without announcing it. And now people are catching up to a version of you they didn't expect. There's also an energy here of someone trying to check the temperature around you. They ask others how you react when your name is mentioned. They're trying to gauge whether it's safe to approach you again. But Virgo, your energy has shifted. You are no longer operating from the same emotional access point. You are not closed, but you are protected. And that's why conversations about you feel different now. They're no longer about control or familiarity. They're about distance, respect, and uncertainty. People are realizing they don't know where they stand with you anymore. And that's the shock. Because they assumed you would always be there, always understanding, always forgiving, always available. But Virgo, you learned discernment. You learned when to give and when to step back. You learned that access to you is earned. You learned that not everyone deserves the same version of you. And now people are talking, they're asking questions they should have asked before. They're replaying moments where they dismissed you. They're wondering if they missed their chance. There is karma here, Virgo, not punishment, but awareness. People are waking up to who you were in their life. And you don't need to respond because the conversations happening about you are doing the work for you. You are being remembered correctly now, and that changes everything. If this message resonates with you, make sure to like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Virgo. This energy is still unfolding, and there is more truth coming to the surface. They're talking about you, Virgo. And whether they admit it or not, you left an imprint they can't erase.